If you do those dailies every single day, you will get rich in no time. And the best part is, it will not even take that long to do them each day. It's just the patience of doing those activities every single day. I'm Surma, and today I want to tell you how you do your daily things to maximize your gold gain in Guild Wars 2 with just a few minutes every single day. As always, special shout out to all my supporters on YouTube, Twitch and Patreon that help me keep the lights on. And now without much further ado, let's start by explaining how I ordered this. So the order is somewhat roughly based on how long it takes to finish those activities. I have a huge chunk of activities that you can do every single day to get gold. But the farther you progress in this video, at least I try to, the time to spend on a specific activity will take longer, but of course they will also be more profitable. So always try to find a sweet spot for you in terms of time efficiency. Small disclaimer here at the beginning. Of course, this is my tips and tricks what you should do. That doesn't mean I will cover everything that there is. It's just my collection that I think is very worthwhile doing. But now let's start with the first point. The first point is obviously very, very simple. You just have to log in. Yes, since the removal of the login rewards, it is not as lucrative as it once was, because then you got over 1 gold just for logging in. This is not the case anymore. Now you get Astral Acclaim. And this Astral Acclaim is of course not as much as if you would go for the full Wizard's Vault daily, but it's still worthwhile a little bit. So if you sum it up over the course of a year, you actually get quite a lot. Next point to all my fishing friends out there is getting daily fish turned in. So there are multiple fishing merchants. I always go to the Wanna Arbor spawn that you can see here. If you interact with this guy, you can select a single fish that you can turn in each day. It's a rare fish. So if you stock up all your rare fish, never use them, and just turn in each day 1 fish, you get this roughly 2 gold worth at ambergris. And this is actually quite nice if you do that every single day. Another thing that you can also do is turning in 10 ascended fish fillets into 1 ambergris that you then can sell again. You can only do this 5 times a day, but if you get that much fish, you probably already watched my fishing guide. Link is in the top right hand corner or in the description below if you want to know more about this, because then you actually can do this very, very easily all the time and get even more rewards for fishing. Another thing mentioning fishing here already is doing your daily fish. So 4 fish in a specific region, you get the chest that you can see on screen, and if you open this, there is a chance to get ambergris as well. So just a little bit more gold on top. So, but now let's move on out of fishing if you're not interested into fishing. So you can get 30 fractal keys for only 6 gold. And yes, that is an investment, but on average, you will get way more gold out of that by opening your boxes, especially if you do your fractals and you get the fractal encryption boxes yourself. But even if you don't do your fractals, you can buy the inscription boxes on the trading post and the keys from this vendor every day, 30 keys, and open the boxes and you will get more gold out of that than you invested. So always go for the deeply discounted keys. Then next point here, material donations in Drizzlewood Coast. In Drizzlewood Coast, you can go to this NPC and turn in specific tier 5 and tier 6 materials like elderwood and something like that, and turn it in, and you get specific rewards. For example, if you get a full reward track, you will get even mystic clovers out of this. It takes a while, but it is worth it over a while. In the description is a link to what kind of turn-ins are actually worth it. Then you can also, if you're playing Drizzlewood Coast, or if you plan to do it in the future, you can also get 5 cash keys each day. That sums up over the course of time as well. Next point would be guild trader and gathering nodes. So you can go into your guild hall and go to the guild trader and exchange some items there and get some gold every single day. You can also go to the gathering nodes and gather, of course, the nodes there and get some gold out of that. It is not the craziest gold farm, but it's over the course of time it can be worthwhile. Next point that I want to mention here is for all my End of Dragons fans, you can go to Dragon's End and turn in Dragon's End writs and convert them to favor on this NPC. And you can turn in 3 to 5, so you will net gain 2. And you can also buy some for karma. I think that's very worth it because you can then use them, or you can consume them for Imperial Favor, which you then can use to craft, for example, an Oreen Legendary over the course of a year or something like that, even faster if you do it more efficiently, and you can get some really, really nice gold as well on top of that. And now to a very important tip to get more gold efficient in Guild Wars 2 is to subscribe to my channel, of course, to not miss out on the latest gold farm guides and much more. Now let's talk about the next point. The next point is Gar Leadclaw NPC or the Portable Wizard's Tower Exchange. This is an item that you can get, and this had exactly the same stuff that the Gar Leadclaw NPC has, you just don't have to go to it every single time. So that's quite nice. And you can open this from anywhere if you have it in your inventory, and then can exchange stuff depending on what your needs are. It's quite worthwhile. There are many things that you can actually get. I would recommend getting stuff that is account bound all the time or is very high in gold value. Otherwise, I would not do it because there are so many account found currencies in there. A lot of them you will need for getting your legendaries or getting specific items from those maps. So don't waste them on something that is not too much worth of gold. But there are always some things in there that can be worthwhile purchasing for sure. While we are already at it, using items from your inventory, you can of course use all your ascended gobblers to gobble away your ascended bloodstone dust and that kind of stuff. If you have way too much of that, it is not crazy gold gain, but it will save up some inventory space if you don't need the bloodstone dust or the other ascended items. And of course you can also use the wizard's gobbler if you have that, so that is combined in one item. And what I also want to mention here, all the converters. So there are, for example, the karmic converter, where you can get good stuff, or the fractal reliquary, stuff like that. You can get really, really decent items. You just have to know what is good to get for your account and not always purchase something. So sometimes there is nothing good in the converters, but most of the time there is something that is actually worth purchasing. I can, for example, mention here in the fractal reliquary, there is this +5 agony infusion that you can then buy for 25 fractal currency, and then you can actually go to an NPC in the fractal lobby and turn that in, and you get more fractal currency out of that than you bought it with. So that's actually quite nice, just some net game of fractal currency. Probably the best drop in this whole thing is, at least for me, is a 20 full stack salvage kit. So 20 stacks of ascended salvage kit in this fractal reliquary costs only 25 fractal relics. It's amazing if you get this. That's not happening that often, but when it happens, it's an amazing find because that's 20 gold that you find right there for nothing actually. It's amazing. Really, really good. So always checking that. Going on with other ascended stuff that you can get, for example, getting ascended crafts. So once a day you can, for example, turn in some elderwood into a specific ascended crafting material that is not sellable, but you can stack up because you can get once each day. If you then turn that into, for example, spirit wood or the other sellable items, you actually can make some profit there, but always double check if it's currently profitable to craft this, because it's not always the case. Keep that in mind. That also goes for all the other daily crafts. Here's a list of all the daily crafts that you can do. There are actually quite a lot of them, but not all of them are profitable. So some of them are really profitable because a lot of people want that to buy, to skip some kind of skyscale grind or something like that. But some of them are not profitable because no one actually cares too much about them, so keep that in mind. So if you craft them each day that are profitable, you actually make some net profit as well. Of course, always try to list them and not instantly sell them, so be patient because that will actually help you getting more gold. But more about this in my gold savings tips video here. Another really good point that I can mention as someone that has a lot of alt characters is having some characters parked at specific locations over the whole Terra map. You can use multiple characters on multiple parking spots. Of course, it depends how many characters you have to spare to actually park them there. You just log in on each day with this character on a specific location. For example, here in the Echo Wild Runestall parking spot where you can get a runestone. You can also jump down here with a portal or position rewinder and go back up. So you have actually 2 runestones or 2 spots actually. You get sometimes more runestones that you actually can then sell. It's quite nice. It's over 1 gold for just 1 minute, not even. It's really nice. And you can have multiple locations like that. For example, Biora March's chest parking is also really good to get, for example, Eternal Ice Shards and Itrite ingots. That is really nice, just if you want to stock up on those. For example, if you want to craft them 32 slot bags, but just for gold, it's obviously also worth it. And there are other parking spots like here in Draconis Mons or so many more. Just check out the link in the description to all of the parking spots. Another parking spot that you can use that is a little bit different because it's time gated, so to say. That means that you have to be there at a specific time, is the legendary matriarch here in Verdant Brink. If you go to this at the correct time, you can kill the legendary matriarch and get the full meta event reward, so to say. Really, really nice. And you get some gold out of that, of course. Another point in Verdant Pink is actually the hero point at the bottom here that only is a veteran. If you can do that in 30 seconds or something, if you are on a fast clearing build, you will get just nice, rare and green and blue unidentified gear, and that's each day. It's quite nice. And you also get the Verdant Brink map currency if you want to get that just for 30 seconds of gameplay. Amazing. Another thing that you can get from traveling vendors this time is the Pact Scout mapping materials. Those will be available for Karma, and you can get them each day, and it's depending on where the current NPC is, but you can then turn those in if there is a really good map rotation. So for example, in Frostbound Search, if there's going to be a really good rotation where you get really good rewards for doing events there, you can activate those mapping materials and you will get progress in this reward track, so to say, for the map currently, and you will get really good tier 6 materials or whatever materials currently are on the rotation. So you can then therefore turn in some karma each day to get really nice tier 6 materials after that, if you are patient, of course. Speaking from tier 6 materials, you can also turn in your Tyrian defense seals at this vendor here in Eye of the North, and just talking to this guy each day, you can turn in those defense seals for a small sale, so that's quite nice. And if you do that each day, you actually get a decent chunk of, I would say, tier 3 to tier 6 materials, depending on how lucky you are. Another thing that also costs a little bit of time, maybe like 2 minutes, is the home instance or the homestead. You just go in, gather all your nodes that you have there, and you have, of course, the keys too. Of course, it's more lucrative if you put in some glyph in those gathering things, and you actually get decent volatile magic, for example, if you put the volatile magic glyph in there. But even without it, it's actually quite worth it to get everything all at once. So it's really quite nice to just get some gold. And while you're in here, you can also charge your quartz crystal that you can do each day. This can be profitable if you sell the charged quartz crystal by crafting into something that you can then sell. This is quite profitable depending on the item and the current market. But I would say most of the time it's worth it because it's a daily gated material. So charged quartz is not that easy to get if you want to get like 100 of them and you don't have any. So always recommend doing that. Now we're slowly getting to stuff that is a little bit more time investive. So of course you can do the Wizard's Vault daily. Depending on if you are in PvE, PvP, World versus World or mixed, you can actually get this quite fast. I typically do PvP because I think that's the easiest way, just playing one PvP match and you actually get the reward, so it would be 10 minutes or something. But you can also go for PvE and sometimes that's faster, even World versus World can be faster. I just recommend doing this each day. That's a really, really big plus because you get huge amounts of influx of Astral Acclaim that you can then trade for really, really good items or, of course, gold. While we're already at dailies, I would recommend, if there's currently a festival going on, doing the daily festival achievement. This is not necessarily a gold gain. Sometimes it is, not all the time, but it will also progress, so to say, your skins collection. So if you want to get the skins in the future, sometimes that's very worthwhile to do it every single day, and it doesn't take that long. Another thing that you can do daily are swim speed infusions gathering. This is really nice. So just going to those parking spots where you have to open those underwater chests, you get decent gold, so 6 gold or something. If you want to do this, quite nice. Just passive gold gain by opening those, like takes 8 to 10 minutes, I would say. And good gold power. Then let's get into some instance content that is daily kept. Going for your daily priority strike mission is really, really good because it gives you a nice chunk of gold influx. Icebrute Saga strike mission, that is End of Dragons and Soto strike missions, can be good too, but only once a week. So I would not recommend them doing them daily. Only the Icebrute Saga priority strike. It's very fast, doesn't even take like 3 minutes typically if you're doing for the fast ones. They will give you also a Blue Prophet Crystal, which you need to open your weekly chest. Be sure to subscribe to get my weekly guide coming very soon, what you should do each week to get the most amount of gold. This is obviously also something, opening this weekly chest. And with this, doing this daily each day, you actually get access to the weekly chests and actually do already what you need to do. Speaking of priority strike missions, I would also go for Icebrute Saga 5 strike missions if you have the time. It just takes 15 minutes. If you want to add Dragonstorm on top of that, that's even better. You will get some gold and the chance of getting a rare infusion, and that's just very worthwhile for the time that you spend there. Really, really good gold power. The same goes for Fractal Tier 4s. If you have access to Tier 4 Fractal, the dailies, it's amazing. Really, really good gold power. If you add this challenge modes on top, you get even more gold power. It's really, really good if you want to do that, if you have access to that, of course. If you can do Tier 4 Fractals and challenge modes, this will lead to like 1 to 2 hour runs. And if you have even more time, of course, you can do the recommended Fractals, but sorry for the pun, I don't recommend doing them because I personally think that's actually not that good of gold per hour. Of course, if you can't do Tier 4 Fractals or challenge modes, then of course recommended Fractals are a decent way of getting gold. Let me know what you do each day to get gold in the comments down below. And like I said, this is just my tips and tricks what you should do. I did not cover everything that there is. I just think this is the most time efficient ones. And if you want to know how to make gold with salvaging, be sure to check out this video. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks again to all my supporters, and I hope to see you all in the next video.